All right, let's dive right into this. Welcome everyone to today's explainer. Think of this as, well, basically a masterclass into one of the absolute most mind-bending, revolutionary ideas in all of modern physics. Today, we're exploring the dual nature of radiation and matter. It's really the central paradox of the microscopic world, you know? It's a concept that literally rewrote the rules of science and frankly paved the way for the quantum tech we use every single day.
So I want to kick off our class today with what seems like a totally simple question. It's actually a question that the most brilliant minds argued over for centuries. Have you ever wondered, is light a wave or a particle? Seriously, take a second and really think about it. Are we talking about a continuous ripple of energy spreading out through space, or is it more like a stream of tiny microscopic bullets? Well, surprisingly, the answer is both. Here's our lesson plan for today's journey into the quantum realm. We'll start with the ultimate physics mystery, look at the great scientific debate, and see how it's actually one reality. Then we'll check out the proof in the lab, the math behind the magic, and wrap up with quantum in your pocket. Starting off with Section 1, Physics Mystery, the ultimate question. To really grasp why this whole wave versus particle thing practically broke the brains of classical physicists, we kind of have to look at how rigidly they define the universe. Now, what's so wild is how mutually exclusive these two concepts are supposed to be. In classical physics, you absolutely cannot be both. Look at the left side here. A wave spreads continuously through space, right? It bends around obstacles. That's diffraction, and it creates interference patterns. It's like dropping a stone in a calm pond and watching all those ripples overlap. But then look at the right side. A particle occupies a very localized, specific spot. It has mass. It crashes into things. Think about a tennis ball bouncing off a brick wall. It definitely doesn't diffract around it. Back then, you were either energy spreading out or a physical thing taking up space. There was literally zero in between. And that strict division brings us right to Section 2, the great debate, a scientific argument. Because light just refused to play by these classical rules, the scientific community literally spent hundreds of years passing the truth back and forth like a giant game of ping pong. Let's trace how this built up over time. Back in 1704, the legendary Isaac Newton declared that light was made of particles. He called them corpuscles. And honestly, because he was Newton, everyone pretty much just nodded and agreed. But then, jump to 1801, Thomas Young shoots light through two slits and proves it creates wave-like interference. Boom, light is a wave. James Clerk Maxwell cemented this even further in 1865 with his electromagnetic theory. But wait, we're not done. At the turn of the 20th century, Max Planck and Albert Einstein realized that certain stuff only made sense if light was actually made of discrete, little localized packets of energy called photons. And the final, crazy twist. In 1924, Louis de Broglie comes along and hypothesizes that, hey, if light waves can act like particles, then particles of matter, like actual electrons, must also act like waves. Mind-blowing, right?
Moving on to Section 3. One reality, two different sides.
Now, all this historical back and forth wasn't because one side was totally wrong and the other was right. It was because the universe was just way, way stranger than they ever imagined. So here is the crucial takeaway. If you're taking notes for my class today, definitely write this down. Wave-particle duality is a fundamental principle stating that every quantum object possesses both wave-like and particle-like characteristics. That's the golden rule. These tiny objects in nature simply cannot be boxed into just one neat little category.
If that sounds a bit too abstract, think about it like a Swiss Army knife. A Swiss Army knife is just one single object, right? But depending on exactly how you use it, it functions as a knife, or a scissors, or a screwdriver. Quantum objects, like photons of light or electrons of matter, are exactly the same way. They are what they are, but their observed behavior actually changes depending on how you interact with them. It's kind of like an actor playing different roles on a stage. The actor doesn't fundamentally change, only the performance does, based on the specific setting.
And the logic of that setup dictates everything. You start with a quantum object, but it's the experimental setup sitting right there in the middle that acts as the fork in the road. If you build an experiment to look for waves, like you're specifically looking for interference or diffraction, guess what? The object is going to behave like a wave. But if you build an experiment to look for particles, like testing the photoelectric effect or looking for quantized energy, that exact same object will behave like a particle. It's wild. The way we choose to measure the universe literally dictates which mask it wears.
Let's head over to Section 4, Proof in the Lab, Experimental Evidence.
It's one thing to sit around and have a really cool theory, but how did physicists actually prove this duality was the absolute truth? Well, they proved it through a series of definitive, absolute slam-dunk experiments. Step 1, Young's double-slit experiment proved light interferes, clearly showing its wave nature. Step 2, Einstein proved the photoelectric effect, showing that shining light on a piece of metal actually ejects electrons. Now that only makes sense if light is acting as particle-like photons, basically transferring fixed packets of energy. And fun fact, that's actually what won him the Nobel Prize. Step 3, the Davison-Germer experiment. They directed physical electrons at a nickel crystal and literally watched them diffract, producing interference patterns just like waves. Matter acting as a wave, totally confirmed right there in the lab.
So, to resolve this massive paradox once and for all, the legendary physicist Niels Bohr introduced what we call the complementarity principle. He stated that wave and particle descriptions are complementary. Both descriptions are necessary for a complete understanding. They aren't contradictory at all. They're essentially two halves of the same coin. You literally cannot have a full picture of nature without both of them. The catch? You just can't measure them both at the exact same time.
All right, class, that brings us to Section 5, Math Behind the Magic, Quantum Equations.
Now it's time to grab those calculators, but hey, don't worry, I promise to keep this super intuitive. Let's break down these three foundational equations. First up, we've got Planck's quantum equation. E equals hf. E is energy, F is frequency. This literally just means that for a photon, a higher frequency directly equals a higher energy. That is exactly why gamma rays are so insanely powerful compared to, say, radio waves. Second is Einstein's photoelectric equation. All this means is that the energy of the incoming photon, that's the HF part, goes into breaking the electron free from the metal, that's the phi, and whatever energy is left over just becomes the electron's kinetic speed, or Kmax. And finally, the real mindbender, de Broglie's equation. Wavelengths, or lambda, equals Planck's constant divided by mass times velocity. This mathematically proves that anything with mass and velocity, literally any moving matter, generates a wave. Now, you might have noticed the letter h popping up in all those equations. That right there is Planck's constant, and its value is 6.626 times 10 to the negative 34th power joule seconds. And let me tell you, that negative 34 means it is unbelievably, almost incomprehensibly tiny. It's basically the universal key to unlocking the quantum realm, and its incredibly microscopic size is the exact reason why we don't really notice all this quantum weirdness happening in our everyday human-sized lives. Which leads us straight into our final section, Quantum in Pocket, Modern Tech. So why does all this actually matter outside of a dusty old physics textbook? Well, wave-particle duality is quite literally the bedrock of modern technology. If you've ever used a solar-powered calculator, you've personally used the photoelectric effect. If you've ever had LASIK eye surgery, or even just scanned a barcode at the grocery store, you are relying entirely on the quantum behavior of photons. Electron microscopes? They use the incredibly short matter waves of electrons to literally see viruses. And the device you're probably watching this explainer on right now, your smartphone, its semiconductor chips rely completely on the quantum principles governing electron behavior. Basically, none of this modern world exists without duality.
But I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. It's a classic, brilliant student question. If every moving thing has a matter wave, why doesn't a massive moving cricket ball or a baseball diffract around a bat? The answer goes right back to de Broglie's equation we just learnt. Because the mass of a cricket ball is just so incredibly huge compared to a tiny electron, and Planck's constant is so unbelievably small, the resulting wavelength of that cricket ball is basically zero. It's so tiny that it physically cannot be detected by any experiment we could possibly build. So, for macroscopic everyday objects, classical physics still works perfectly fine.
But to wrap up our class today, I want to leave you all with a bit of a wild thought experiment. Just imagine for a second if Planck's constant was much, much larger and a human-sized object actually had a measurable de Broglie wavelength. How totally different would we experience reality? Imagine walking toward a room with two open doors and physically diffracting through both of them at the exact same time to create an interference pattern on the wall inside. I mean, it sounds like absolute magic, right? But at the quantum scale, that is just the beautiful dual reality of our universe. Keep questioning the world around you guys, and thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.